Hi everyone, another warm morning here in Thailand. Broken episode 14. I have a sneaky feeling baby Ron is going to start attacking me in a minute. So we left it. Martin was starting to get a bit worried about visas and how he could possibly get his daughter over in the future to the UK. He's really getting more and more worried about her. His holiday that year finished and he went back home. He flat out again working non-stop as much as he could. Things are getting tougher in the economy back then in the UK, but he did a lot of hours. Everything was fine. He's still sharing a house, renting a room in a house, but with everything he's doing, he can only save so much money. He's cut his holidays to just Christmas time for a couple of months and just saving hard as much as he can. His other kids in the UK are all good, everything's fine with them. He's got no real big outlays coming in the next few years, so it's just a case of saving money to see what he can do about his daughter. He's going to have to try and work on Wah for the next few years to see, as his daughter gets older, to see if he can persuade Wah to let him try and bring the daughter over, even if it's just maybe for a holiday at first. But his accommodation and everything set up in the UK is not right at the moment. He's going to have to change that. Now, just going back a bit over the sort of past 3 years, when he was in the village visiting his daughter, he'd done a few upgrades to the house where the daughter lives and with the grandmother, and he'd also done a few purchases of one of the normal Honda Wave type scooters with a sidecar unit that helps the family in the village go out and put boxes on top and bring home. And his daughter was now running around on that quite a bit. But he did also buy an old beat up second-hand 150cc proper little motorbike, and over that last 3 years he spent some money on it, got a local guy to actually restore it and fix it up and get it all good. And it wasn't huge amounts of money, but he spent a bit on it, spread out over the few years, and he loved riding that around the village when he was there, and he just kept it covered up and no one else rode it, and it was his only little toy in the village, the only thing he really owned over there, but it probably wasn't in his name. A year goes by and he comes back out to Thailand. He'd gone, I wasn't around, I'd gone long before this now. He'd landed and he'd gone straight to Pattaya, and caught up with Wah. He'd already been in touch with her saying he was coming over, and he had a couple of nights in Pattaya. Met up with her again and started asking her if she would consider allowing him in the next year or so to take his daughter just for a holiday in the UK, moving cows about, whether she'd allow him to. And she actually said if it's just a holiday she'd be fine about that, which surprised him. But that would have to be the first step he would make, taking her for a tourist visa holiday before even going down the path of moving her. He tentatively asked Wah again why she wouldn't consider letting him take the daughter full time back to the UK, and she replied on this occasion I want her to come and live with me. Now you can just imagine exactly what's going through his head. Wah is looking like she wants to groom the daughter to go into that business. Well, Martin said there's no way, and he expressed it in quite a way, that he would ever let his daughter go into that business. And they had an argument. He left, and left it in that state, which was not great. He headed up to the village and caught up with his daughter. He was over for 2 months this trip, and he stayed in the village this time. He didn't go down to Koh Chang. Decided he was going to have the whole 2 months in the village. He was going to ride his bike around, and he was going to spend his time with his daughter and see if he could help with more English lessons and try and teach her a bit more about the world and show her online and stuff. She'd now got this phone. She'd had a phone for a year, and he was quite surprised at how many friends she'd got on her phone and how she had gone from 11 years old to 12 years old. It seemed to have sprouted and grown up a lot more in 1 year. It was a bit of a shock, but she's becoming a young woman. You know, girls here in Thailand, I've known girls at that age go and head off to the cities, which is very scary and frightening. It's not legal as far as I know, but there used to be ways around they'd do it, but well. Anyway, he had absolutely fabulous time with her. 5-6 weeks passed, and he was on he had a 2-month visa, or it was a 1-month visa, and he had to get an extension, whichever it was. I think that was it, a 30-day tourist, a 30-day extension or something. But 6 weeks into the holiday, he was loving village life. He was interacting. His Thai still not brilliant, but people, he's very vocal, and his hand actions and his body language, people understood him, and he fitted in with the village really well. They loved him in the village. He never brought the village a problem. He always brought good things to the village. The other Farang down the road, he was getting quite pally with him, and they'd sit and have a few drinks some nights together. He wasn't drinking, he wasn't doing anything bad. He was working all this throughout the year just to go and see his daughter. Great relationship, absolutely great. And 2 weeks before the end of the holiday, this is about 3 years ago, they were all invited to go to a wedding in the next village. It's about 4 or 5 kilometers away, and that was his daughter, the grandmother, some of the neighbours, and everyone was. It's normal to go to each other's, the weddings and the parties, and they went off. So he rode his bike, grandmother and daughter and maybe someone else on the bike with a sidecar, and they all zipped off to the morning ceremony. Had a great time, ate a lot of food, again no drinking or anything, and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Later on, they all returned home, and there was an evening party, which was free food, a bit of a show on a stage, dancing girls and all sorts. But his daughter didn't want to go to that, nor the grandmother. But one of the other guys, somewhere around the family or neighbours, wanted to go, and actually arranged with Martin that he'd meet him up there. Martin was going to go because he loved these other people, that he knew them, knew the kids, and went up. He went up about 7 in the evening. He jumped on his bike and shot up there, and went to the party. Again, didn't drink, just had food, he was on a bit of a health kick at the time, so he was drinking all sorts of different fruit juices and things. Well, anyway, and he went off up to the party. Let me change the battery. 10 minutes. They yeah, had dancing girls on at the party. He was up there, lots of Thai food, and he loves his Thai food. Munched his way through all that, and yeah, dancing. And even later on the party, the locals would all get up on stage and dance after the girls had finished, and then some of them would dance with the girls, and he got up there and had a dance around and had a good old time. It was really fun. It went on and on. It goes on till like 10, 11, 12, 1 in the morning sometimes, but it was pretty close to midnight, and he decided that was it. He'd had enough, and he was going to head home. He got a 4 or 5 kilometre ride, so only 15 minutes down the road, and he said his goodbyes to everyone and jumped on the bike. A couple of kilometres down the road, they're not tarmac roads. It's a lot of where it was. There was a lot of sort of bumpy, dusty roads, going through the villages, windy roads and stuff. And he was heading home, wasn't really speeding or anything. And there was a patch where he had to go over a bit of a hill and quite a few windy roads, and minding his own business, riding along. And on a corner, on this slight hill, and it was he'd just come over the top, and there was a lot of trees and stuff around. He'd come over the top, and coming down and round a corner, a pickup truck with a big box on the back came around and the corner at speed, taking the whole road up. He had nowhere to go. He was not going at speed, not too fast. This truck just came round the corner straight at him, and there was no way for this truck to go. It was going to hit him head on. He managed to turn his bike enough to the left to avoid the truck hitting him head on, but the truck hit the back of the bike, the side of the bike, and we're not sure whether the truck hit his leg as well, but it threw him off the side of the road into a tree, and didn't stop. The truck disappeared, just drove off. Martin was completely three, 4 meters off the road. Whether he'd not been knocked unconscious, but his leg had severe wounds at the knee, above the knee, really bad. Totally smashed his leg up, and him as well. He had a helmet on. That saved his life. Luckily, so luckily, within a few seconds someone else came down the road in a vehicle and spotted him, stopped, managed to get him into their truck, off to a local hospital. He was so lucky, within 30 minutes of the accident he was at a local hospital, pretty badly injured, and almost, it was life-threatening on his leg. Whether it was the truck, the bike, the tree, had cut his leg really badly, deeply, losing a lot of blood, and they had to perform emergency surgery just to stop all the bleeding. Luckily that hospital was capable of doing that, and they put him straight in, operating. They managed to stop all the bleeding, but the leg was smashed, really badly smashed up. Everything else on him luckily was fine. He might have been unconscious for a bit, we're not sure. He just got bruises, his shoulder was painful, but the main thing I can ascertain from it all was the leg was smashed up really bad. Oh, Martin. How somebody's life can change in an instant. I'm going to leave it there, and we'll catch up with Martin on the next one. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.